Okay guys, we're going to try this again. I just went through this and looked at the video and you could only see from here up. So I really hope this works. Hopefully you can see the whole board. Okay, here we go. Quick warm-up. Math does not have all the answers is our biblical world truth for this chapter. 9 plus 9. 4 plus 4. 5 plus 6. 3 plus 4. 9 plus 1. Okay, we're talking about decimals. Decimals are another way to write fractions. 10 tenths as a fraction will be 10 out of 10, 10 over 10, right? 10 tenths. And that would look like this as a fraction. As a decimal, that equals 1. So it's not really a decimal yet. That's 1 whole. Okay? So let's look at it this way. Here are our place values. Ones, tens, hundreds. But on the other side of the decimal, on the right, we have tenths, not tens, tenths, because it's a part of a whole. It's how many out of 10. And 10 tenths makes a 1. And then we have hundredths. How many of 100? And 100 hundredths makes a whole. So, here we go. Let's look at some examples. Okay, that is 10 tenths, which is the same thing as 1 whole. Okay, so let's look again, 10 tenths. Let's look at 1 whole and 2 tenths. That would be 1.2, 1 and 2 tenths. Okay, this is a 10, and 3. So these two can come over because it's 2 full sets of 10. So those come over to make 2 wholes with 3 tenths left over, which would be 2.3. Okay, this is 1.2, or it's 1 and 2 tenths. 1 and 2 tenths. In a minute, we'll come back and look at the fraction for that. 2.3, or 2 and 3 tenths. 3 and 5 tenths would be 3 wholes and 5 tenths, which is half, right? 3 and a half. 4 and 2 tenths is 4 wholes and 2 tenths. Okay, this is 5 tenths, so there's no wholes here. 5 tenths is the same thing as half. 0.5 is the same thing as half. 3 tenths, no wholes, just 3 out of 10. Notice the 0 in the ones place because there are 0 wholes. 9 tenths, okay, that is 0.9, no wholes, and 9 out of 10, 9 tenths, almost 1 whole. All right, let's look at the fractions here. So 1 and 2 tenths as a fraction looks like this, 1 and 2 out of 10. As a decimal looks like this, 1.2, or 1 and 2 tenths, either way. Okay, 2 and 3 tenths is 2 and 3 tenths. 3 and 5 tenths, 3 and 5 tenths, which is 3 and a half. 4 and 2 tenths, 4 and 2 out of 10. Okay, 5 tenths is just 5 out of 10, or 1 half. 3 tenths is 3 out of 10. 9 tenths is 9 out of 10. All right, so we're not going to look at that one right now. This is going to be number 5 on the page you're going to do on your own in a minute, on page 323. So 1 and 5 tenths equals 1.5. So that's 1 whole and 5 out of 10 bars on the picture. So 1 and 5 tenths like this as a fraction, or 1 and 5 tenths as a decimal. That's number 5 on the page you're going to do in a little bit if you want to fill that in. Okay, let's go back and look at this page about Haley and Horatio. Okay, so, wait a minute, that's not right. Here we go. At the top, math does not have all the answers. That's our biblical worldview. Number 1, Haley and Cyrus saw a sign that told them how many miles to the next scenic overlook. How far away was the overlook? How many holes do we have? 1. And how many tenths? 5. So, the overlook was 1.5 miles away, which is 1.5 miles. Haley and Cyrus kept track of how many miles they hiked each week. During which week did they hike the most miles? So we're going to put in order from least to greatest first. Week 1, 23.25. Week 2, 21.12. Week 3, 26.32. That's also 23 and 25 hundredths, 21 and 12 hundredths, or 26 and 32 hundredths. So, the good news is the whole numbers are all different, so we don't even have to look at the decimal places to see which one is bigger or smaller. So the smallest is 21.12, and then 23.25, and then 26.32. 21, 23, 26 in order from least to greatest. So, which week did they hike the most? 26.32 is week 3. So they hiked the most miles during week 3. Okay, make sure you're writing your answers in these nice sentences with all the appropriate labels. Number 3, how many more miles did Haley and Cyrus hike during week 3 than week 1? So when we see the phrase, how many more, that is a huge clue to what? Subtraction. So we're going to subtract week 3 and week 1. 26.32 and 23.25. Now, when we subtract decimals, it's just like doing money. It's regular subtraction. We just don't have a dollar sign. So, 2 take away 5, can't do it. So we're going to borrow from 3. 3 becomes 2, right? And then those 10 come over here, and 2 becomes 12 because we add the 10. 12 take away 5 is 7. 2 take away 2 is 0. Don't forget our decimal, it lines up right there. 6 take away 3 is 3, and 2 take away 2 is 0, and that's it. 3 7/100ths of a mile. Now, we have been doing subtraction like this for long enough. You should be keeping up with me here. Okay? Now, so they hiked 3 7/100ths more miles during week 3 than week 1. Okay, number 4, the Notch Trail is 75 hundredths of a mile long. Now, that's not even a whole mile, that's 75 hundredths of a mile, which is 3/4 of a mile. Cyrus saw a sign saying they had gone 50 hundredths of a mile, which is half, right? Half of a mile. How many miles of trail was left? So if you think about it in quarters, like money, 25 is 1/4, 50 is 2/4 or half, 75 is 3/4, right? 100 makes $1 or 1 whole. So it's 3/4 of a mile long. They've gone halfway. How much more is left? Well, we're going to take 0.75 and subtract 0.50 to get our answer, and we're going to end up with 0.25 or 1/4 of a mile. So 0.25 miles of trail was left. And of course, again, Cyrus used math to figure out how far away the end of the trail was, but math could not help Cyrus choose to obey. What biblical worldview truth did Cyrus illustrate? Math does not have all the answers. Math can't teach us how to obey. We obey out of the love of our heart for whoever it is that we are being obedient to. So, hopefully you did all that with me. Okay, you're going to upload this page just so I can see you did it. And then we're going to go on and you're going to practice the first lesson on your own. So let's look at a couple examples though. Okay, fractions and mixed numbers can be written as decimals. The decimal point marks the ones place. So anything to the left of the decimal is a whole number. Anything to the right is a fraction. Okay? So for example, color to match the fraction or the mixed number, write the equivalent decimal. So they've given us the fraction 5/10, so we're going to color in 5 out of 10. Okay, and they've given us the answer for that one, 0.5, 5/10. So you are going to match the fraction to the decimal and color it. Now look at the next row. These are mixed numbers. So we have 1 whole and 5/10, or 1 1/2. So we're going to shade that whole 1 plus 5/10 or half. This is the one that the PowerPoint did with us at the end of the PowerPoint a little while ago. So you're going to finish all those. Write the equivalent decimal. 6/10 is 0.6. 0 ones and 6/10. Now, on the other side of the decimal, you might wonder, why isn't that first place like a 1/ths place? There's no such thing as a 1/th because it takes 10 of these to make a 1. Okay, so this is the 10ths place and the next one is a 100ths place. And when you get to 100, like you can have 99, and then when you get to 100, it makes a whole. So we have tenths and hundredths, no 1/ths place. Okay, so that's 0.6. 2 and 4/10 is 2 wholes and 4/10, 2.4. Okay, so you're going to finish all of those. Let's look at the back page. Color to match the fraction or the mixed number, write the equivalent decimal. That is the exact same thing that we just got finished doing, so you're going to continue that. Write the equivalent decimal, continue that, same thing we just did, and then match those, same thing we just did, and then a quick addition, quick fact review. Okay, so I hope this is pretty simple to begin this new chapter, and you can go back and watch the video as many times as you want, and I really hope you could see everything on this video. So you're doing the same kind of thing on the front and the back of this page, so then you're going to also upload these 2 pages. Okay? All right, love you guys.